Hi guys, I'm Abbie Roads, and I'm so excited to be here to answer your questions about my book, Race the Darkness. Um, it's funny, I was just all dressed up, had a really nice shirt on and everything, and then just sat down, like changed my clothes because I was going to be home for a while, and sat down and thought, oh, I should have kept my nice shirt on. So now you get to see my Batman Starry Night t-shirt. So, but it's kind of cool anyway. So, anyway, I'm going to start with question number one. It is, who, if anyone, was your inspiration for Xander? Were there any outside specific influences involved in developing Xander's character? Um, I'm a little weird, I think, when it comes to how I develop a book and how I develop characters. Um, I just didn't really have anything much in mind when I sat down to start writing. Um, I don't like to plan when I'm going to write, and I also don't like to plan too much about who my characters are going to be. Part of the reason is every time I've tried to plan out who a character is actually going to be, it happens that they like never turn out like that, and I've just wasted like 2 weeks doing all these character profiles trying to create somebody, and then they never did a darn thing that I had actually thought they would do. So usually the best thing I do is just sit down and I start writing, and I just keep rewriting and writing and writing and writing until like the character does something that I want them to do, that until they take me on a journey and take me where I want to go. I never like go find a picture of a character and like, oh, that's him, and I'm gonna like, you know, make sure I describe him that way. And that's I usually wait till I get writing, and then I just sort of like have like a vague image in my mind of what they're gonna look like. And so I just kind of keep writing, and then usually what happens is just randomly along the way I'll see a photo or a picture somewhere of somebody and I'll be like, that's him. And that's what happened with Xander. I had just been writing him, and I think I was maybe like something like 75 pages into the book and ran across the Cool Water Davidoff commercial with Josh Holloway in it. And I was like, there's Xander, that's him. And I didn't realize that I was kind of like modeling him off of Josh Holloway until I actually saw that commercial. So that's sort of like, so it's a little bit about my process and how I do it. And I just want to make sure I actually answered the question. Um, I did. So on to the next one. The next question is, where did you come up with the idea for Xander's ability and how he got it? Um, oh, I think I was writing Hunt the Dawn, and a little thing that you probably all don't know is I actually wrote the books out of order. I wrote Hunt the Dawn first and then Race the Darkness. Um, well, it's a long story, but that's basically what happened. Anyway, so I was writing Hunt the Dawn, and somebody on social media shared this picture of I think it's called a Lichtenberg fractal pattern, and it was pictures of people who'd actually been struck by lightning and the scarring that it leaves, and it's like a real thing that really does happen when people are struck by lightning. And I don't know why, I just saw that and I just thought, that is the neatest thing. It just, for scars, man, this stuff is really cool looking. And so what I did was I just sort of like printed off the whole article and saved it in a file and went back to writing Hunt the Dawn. And so then when I started to write Race the Darkness, I kind of just opened my file and was like looking for some inspiration because I had nothing. And like I said, that's the way I kind of write. I usually just don't have an idea. And I saw that and I thought, okay, what if he was just struck by lightning? And then it sort of like went from there. It was literally just a random social media thing on that Lichtenberg fractal pattern scarring. And that was the idea that I really wanted him to be scarred like that. And then I really got to thinking about what that could kind of do to a person if you really truly were struck by lightning. And that's truly where it came from, social media. So question number 3, what was your inspiration for the plot? I wish I had one. I really don't. I am what's called a pantser, and that means I write by the seat of my pants. I don't plan anything that's going to happen in my books, because if I try to, and I have tried, believe me, because it would be so much faster if I actually planned what I was going to write instead of just sitting down and writing it. So I never plan what I'm going to write. I just usually sit down and start writing, and usually I write everything about 3 or 4 times before I finally find the version I like. So the plot isn't something that I have planned when I sit down to write a book. It's something that just happens as I'm writing the book. So I there are things that happen in the book that I was just as surprised as you are when they happen. Like when I'm writing Rowena's character, and all of a sudden she had purple hair. I was like, what? And tattoos too? What? Like I couldn't believe that that was going to be Rowena, but that was Rowena. And spoiler alert. So if you haven't read the book, don't listen to this. But like the part where King is wiping her face and he's saying his her face was his face, and I literally wrote that, and I was like, oh my gosh, really? I can't believe what, you know, and just like that totally like was one of those moments. Like if you had a reaction when you read that, imagine my reaction when I wrote that, because I totally hadn't planned that. That was just one of those boom, there it was, it happened kind of things. So anyway, there was really no real inspiration. It's just sort of kind of what happens in my head as I write a book. Let's see, how many books are planned for this series? Right now, there are 3 books planned. Race of Darkness is book 1. Hunt the Dawn is book 2. And I'm working on book 3 for that series right now. I don't know what they're going to title it, because they kind of always choose the titles. I don't. But it's Thomas's story. So if you happen to read Hunt the Dawn, Thomas is Ebony's brother, and so it's his story for book 3. And there might be more books in the series, but for right now, there are 3 contracted. So let's see. What do you do to prepare to write about a character who is so susceptible to sensory overload? You know, the weird thing is, remember, I wrote the books backwards. I wrote Hunt the Dawn first and then Race of Darkness. When I wrote Hunt the Dawn, Lathan is hearing impaired, and he wants desperately to be able to hear. And so I listened to music so much while I wrote that book. I mean, music was always going. I always had earbuds in, jammed up really loud, and would be like writing and like jamming in my seat as I'm writing, you know. And but then when I went to write Race the Darkness, and Xander has the supercharged hearing, and he gets overwhelmed by all the noise. Every time I tried to write with music, I absolutely couldn't do it. I just couldn't. It was like every song was wrong. Every genre was wrong. It was like, you know how you hear a song too often and it really just starts to get on your nerves? It was like every song. Like I could not write to music when I was writing Race to Darkness. It just, and I don't know if that was because of Xander's ability and just me being so focused in on him and making sure I get him right and how he's really truly feeling right. But I honestly just could not listen to music at all. And it's funny because now I'm writing the 3rd book in this series, and I still can't listen to music, but Thomas doesn't have that, you know, anything with his hearing. So I don't know. That's kind of weird that happened. But anyway, number 6, how did you think of the lightning causing Xander's abilities and disabilities? Was it because you heard that heightened sensory response was a symptom of those whom have suffered and survived a strike, or was it a way to explain a character you wanted to write about? Honestly, I don't completely remember. It's been a while. I wrote this book in... Let's see, I finished it in 2015, so it's been a little while. It's been over a year, about a year and a half since I wrote it. I know that the scarring, the thing that I saw on scarring was there, but I can't remember if I did any other research. I think I did, maybe. But I really just was trying to look for an excuse for a reason that Xander's could have this heightened sense of hearing.